almost got me, but no.
The massive success of Arc Raiders has shown without a doubt what players want from games. And more importantly, it's completely embarrassing the AAA game industry that players are fed up with. And that's because it's focused on one simple thing that the game industry has stopped prioritizing. Arc Raiders is just fun. At its core, it's an extraction shooter. You spawn into a map, you loot, you fight robots, and if things go bad, you lose everything. But the mechanic that changes everything is that the other players can either help you, ignore you, or just hunt you down, light you up, and steal your gear. And that uncertainty creates constant tension. It's fun because it keeps dropping you into these small, high-stakes moments over and over again.
I have no ammo though.
Thank you.
You can play as a good Samaritan or as a complete monster.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Either way, everybody who plays it says the same thing. Just one more game.
One more game, one more game, one more game, one more game.
But to really understand why Arc Raiders hits so well, we have to go back and explore a concept from a much earlier time in gaming. No, that's too far. Back in the day, Halo was the game. The original Combat Evolved defined the shooter game on consoles, and Halo 2 brought it all online, and there was really nothing like it. As a millennial, it's difficult to explain to younger people just how big of a deal Halo was. Being able to get onto Xbox Live and just light up random people, voice chat with people around the world, make new friends, and actually genuinely socialize, and talk the most abhorrent, disgusting trash talk imaginable was like discovering fire.
Hey, you're just mad because I'll be able to do something with my fucking guitar in hands that you'll never be able to achieve in your entire life, kid. So yeah, you're gay.
Now, I can make a whole video about Halo, but there's one concept I want to talk about, and I remember learning about it while watching the Making of Halo 2 documentary. This documentary was on a bonus DVD in the Halo 2 Collector's Edition, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I've probably watched this documentary 50 or 60 times over the last 20 years. This doc is one of the most motivating things to watch when you're trying to be inspired or be productive, because it's just about the small studio of dudes grinding to finish making Halo 2, one of the best games ever made. But this right here is the concept I'm talking about.
In Halo 1, there was maybe 30 seconds of fun that happened over and over and over and over again. So if you can get 30 seconds of fun, you can pretty much stretch that out to be an entire game. And so you can have all the great graphics and all the different characters and lots of different weapons with amazing effects, but if you don't nail that 30 seconds, you're not going to have a great game.
This idea, 30 seconds of fun, was the core principle that developers stuck to in the era to come. And it didn't just give us Halo, it gave us an entire golden age of online games. For me, that era looked like Halo 2 and 3, ODST and Reach, but also the early Call of Duty games. Call of Duty 4 absolutely nails the 30 seconds of fun. At its core, it's still a run and gun game, but it introduces kill streaks, which was a totally new mechanic at the time, and another way to build tension and payoff into every short encounter.
Helicopter support standing by.
Then you had modes like Nazi Zombies and co-op games like Left 4 Dead. Nail the moment-to-moment gameplay and build a loop that players want to stay inside. This era is also where downloadable content comes in, and this part really matters, because during this era, DLC was actually great. It didn't exist to fix broken or unfinished games. It existed to extend games that were already great. You had full story and multiplayer expansions for GTA 4. The original Red Dead Redemption got Undead Nightmare, Halo map packs, new Call of Duty Zombies map packs, the story DLC across the Mass Effect trilogy. All of this stuff was reasonably priced and pretty much guaranteed you an awesome week of gaming. When a map pack dropped, it would rally all your friends to get back into a game that you all already loved. And this is why I personally consider that era to be the true golden age of online gaming. Developers' #1 priority was still that 30 seconds of fun, and it resulted in hit after hit. Online gaming platforms and infrastructure finally existed. Budgets were bigger, but they weren't bloated and out of control. So games didn't have to pull $100 million in microtransactions just to survive. And we got DLC that wasn't financially predatory.
Alright, the servers are officially down.
So it's just their populations grow.
I think this is it, boys.
I don't think it is.
Oh my god.
Stand on a shoving with you, lads.
Arc Raiders feels like it was made during that era. More advanced, technically, obviously, but it feels like it was made with the developer integrity from that era that we took for granted. And there was actually another game that started out in a similar way. In early 2017, a small development team with a reasonably small budget released a game called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds into early access. Its premise was also kinda simple. 100 players drop into a massive map, you scavenge for weapons and gear, a shrinking play area forced confrontation, and when you died, you were out. Last man standing wins. High stakes, high intensity, 30 seconds of fun, over and over.
Brendan Green, creator, producer, designer of the massively successful most played game on Steam.
Yes.
25 million copies sold, approximately, right?
Oh yeah, 25.
Concurrent players in the millions. I've never seen anything. It just smashed.
We're gonna
all
hit, I
record.
think, 3 million concurrents today.
PUBG would go on to make $17 billion worldwide. Now, by this point, the industry had already started with a lot of predatory monetization tactics. But PUBG's reasonable $30 price tag and lack of aggressive monetization loops showed everybody that a game could be very successful without them. And that's where Fortnite comes in. Developed by Epic Games, a much larger, well-capitalized studio with decades of experience and a live service capable infrastructure already in place. Fortnite originally launched in mid-2017 as a paid PvE co-op survival game called Save the World, but it didn't take off. When PUBG exploded, Epic recognized the opportunity almost immediately. Within months, Epic repurposed Fortnite's existing systems, built a 100-player battle royale mode, and released it free to play in September 2017. And people loved it. Early Fortnite was good. It took PUBG's core loop, drop, loot, survive, and made it more accessible and less punishing. It ran better, it was available on consoles, it had a stylized art direction that appealed to a broader audience, and most importantly, it worked. By early 2018, Fortnite surpassed PUBG in active players, hit over 3 million concurrent players, became the most watched game on Twitch, and generated billions of dollars per year. And Fortnite proved something PUBG never tried to prove. That it could be wrapped in a live service business model at massive scale. Battle passes, cosmetics, seasonal content, limited time rewards. This was the pivot. It showed the rest of the AAA industry how to take a proven loop, layer monetization on top of it, and turn a single title into a perpetual revenue machine. Now, to be clear, Fortnite's not responsible for everything that followed, but it is the moment where this blueprint became infectious. And this ultimately led to the disaster that is the present-day AAA gaming industry. So I'll admit, I haven't been a huge gamer in recent years. I'll pick stuff up to play casually here and there, but until I started researching for this video, I hadn't realized just how bad it's gotten. Seriously, as somebody who used to play the Modern Warfare and Black Ops games, can somebody tell me what the f is even Call of Duty now? Cartoon character skins, giant robots, machetes falling out of the sky, Nicki Minaj. It's like every game has that weird, colorful, Fortnite-ified slop feel to it. AAA developers aren't building finished products anymore. They're building retention monetization machines. The goal is to keep players logged in and progressing, and to keep them exposed to as much monetization for as long as possible. Live service design forced into genres that don't support it, battle passes layered onto full-priced games, artificial grind tuned around XP boosts and paid skips, loot boxes, daily and weekly challenges designed to create obligation, limited time cosmetics engineered entirely around FOMO, with studios openly designing monetization systems around dopamine reward loops, psychological conditioning, habit formation, and fear of missing out. And on top of all that stuff, the base price of video games is quickly climbing. Nintendo is already charging $80 for Mario Mario Kart and other Switch 2 titles. And internally, the conversation has already moved past if games will cost $100 and on to who will be the first one to do it. Former Call of Duty creative leadership has openly stated that a $100 price point is inevitable because AAA economics are reaching a breaking point, that this price increase is needed because of the cost of AAA games. So basically the industry is telling us that games need budgets of $200 or $300 million. Games need to cost $100 at retail, and they need to have multiple huge layers of monetization placed on top of that price. But that's all bullshit, because this is where Arc Raiders drop kicks these goobers with a reality check. Now, I've actually been playing Arc Raiders, and it's the first online game I've played in a long time, probably since PUBG, that genuinely brought me back to that old Xbox Live feeling. It's funny too, playing this now that I'm older, I actually enjoy cooperating and helping random people out on their raids.
You guys are both gonna extract and you're gonna be nice people, okay? You're gonna be nice people and you're gonna behave.
But if this game existed during my younger Modern Warfare 2 lobby days, I would have played this game like an absolute psychopath.
Well.
But that's kind of what makes it so great. That unpredictability, not knowing who you're gonna stumble into, it's perfect. And it's interesting too, because you can actually pinpoint the exact moment where Embark Studios figured out exactly what their 30 seconds of fun needed to be. Early in development, it was conceived as a purely PvE co-op experience. Players versus the machines working together to scavenge and survive. But through their internal playtesting, Embark ran into a hard truth. PvE on its own wasn't enough. It just wasn't fun. That moment-to-moment tension wasn't there, so the team made a critical design decision.
I said, listen, I think that we need this to be a PvP game to some extent.
They introduced PvP, not as a primary focus, but as a pressure layer. There was a constant chaos that was totally unique every time you played.
But if you think about what happens when you play against other humans, you just realize that finite distance gets closer to infinite, because now you have all the permutations of human behavior in the session.
That combination, PvE-VP, is where Arc Raiders 30 Seconds of Fun finally clicked. And just to tie it back to Halo, the original Halo almost shipped without System Link, which allowed people to connect multiple Xboxes for 16-player matches. The idea being that nobody back then would bother doing that. But because Bungie knew just how fun those 16-player matches were, they figured out a way to package it in, and it revolutionized the genre. These decisions happen when developers care about players having fun. And it shows just how far the AAA industry has drifted from that basic principle. Arc Raiders works not because it reinvented gaming, but because it stripped away everything that wasn't necessary. And in doing that, it quietly invalidates a decade of excuses from AAA publishers. And it makes sense. The game wasn't made by outsiders who didn't understand the AAA system. Embark Studios was founded by veteran developers who came directly out of the AAA pipeline, many of them from DICE, the studio behind Battlefield. They've seen firsthand how modern AAA games are made. They understand how the machine operates because they were part of it. And what Arc Raiders represents is a conscious decision to step outside of that machine. One of the biggest lies that the AAA industry tells players is that this model is unavoidable, that these massive budgets, $200, $300, $400 million, is just the cost of making modern games. But Arc Raiders and other AA and even indie game studios shows just how backwards that really is. At that scale, the game has to extract as much money as possible from the player base just to break even. Fun takes a back seat to the monetization machine. It's why you see so many games nowadays that look massive in scope at first glance. Games that technically have everything, but are shallow and forgettable. They just layer on a bunch of crap that doesn't matter in order to justify the scale. The reality is most games would be far better and more affordable if they just honed into what works and cut out all the fluff. Arc Raiders knows exactly what it is. It's an awesome PvE-VP extraction shooter with its own captivating universe. It's not trying to be anything more. It's not bloated. During the Golden Age, studios could take risks because budgets were big enough to make cool stuff, but they were small enough so that publishers allowed them to take risks. They kind of used the shotgun approach.
First game to lead.
They didn't put all their eggs in one basket, so they could afford to try new things and take creative risks. That's why you ended up with Halo 3, BioShock, Mass Effect, Portal, Call of Duty 4, Uncharted, Super Mario Galaxy, and The Witcher in a single year. Today, studios operate under a sniper approach. Pick one historically successful IP, spend $400 pumping it full of every half-baked mechanic possible, market it to everyone in the safest, least risky way imaginable.
You're alone on a planet. No hope of survival. But you're also not sitting next to Phil anymore in a cubicle, so... Win?
Then layer on every form of monetization that you can justify. At the same time, these AAA publishers will cite these insane budgets as the reason why the cost of games has to go up. That $100 games are inevitable. And yet, Arc Raiders is $40, and its monetization is very light. It's cosmetic only, there's no pay-to-win mechanics, no purchasable power, and no gameplay advantages tied to spending. Progression systems, gear, augments, and core gameplay tools are earned through play. Arc Raiders uses Raider decks, functionally similar to battle passes, but with key differences. The 2 Raider decks released so far have been entirely free. Paid Raider decks, when introduced, will be cosmetic only, and no gameplay items, power boosts, or progression advantages are locked behind payment. Embark has also been unusually generous for a game studio with their in-game currency. And finally, they don't prey on FOMO. Raider decks do not expire, progress is not reset seasonally, and currency isn't wiped. Arc Raiders respects its audience and their wallets, and it's massively successful because of it. And that's probably the part that's hardest for the AAA industry to admit. It just focused on going back to 30 seconds of fun. Arc Raiders isn't just a great game. It's also a sign of what's possible for the future of gaming. Because while AAA is collapsing under its own weight, we're watching smaller studios, AA and indie teams, rise up with smart, disciplined projects that prioritize gameplay, respect players, and succeed without billion-dollar bloat. Indie and AA games now account for 48% of all full game revenue on Steam, up from just 25% in 2018. But there is one risk, because just like they did with Battle Royale, and just like they did with hero shooters, the AAA industry will try to make a blueprint for Arc Raiders. They're already watching, already calculating, trying to figure out how to twist this into a retention-first money printer. Because the last thing that they want to admit is that you can win just by making a fun game. But if you liked this video, make sure to check out this video, which I think you'll really like. And let me know in the comment section what I should cover next.